Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 25 of Geeks Who Like Sports. That's right, folks. We can now rent a car for much cheaper than we used to be able to, which is fantastic. We can also get cheaper car insurance. And whatnot. But yes, it's a quarter century. It's a big milestone. As always, I'm Ray Carcillo, joined by my best friend Lee Elias over in Philadelphia. Lee, how is it going today?
Ray, I think 25 means we also have to move out and that we're off our parents' insurance.
I think it was 26. Actually, you get insurance.
We dodged a bullet there. As true older millennials, we're going to milk this as long as we possibly can. Ray, good to be here today in Philadelphia. Actually sunny and the temperature's dropping, which makes Lee very happy.
It's actually pretty chilly here in LA as well. It's below 60 outside right now. It's 7 in the morning.
I don't believe you.
No, it's true. I actually had to put pants on today. It was
Wait, you might want to clarify that statement a little bit more. I believe Ray's saying that he wears shorts every day.
Right.
And today his shorts have pant legs all the way down to his shoes. Yeah.
Then again, you never see me below the waist on the camera.
He probably just doesn't wear pants. That makes actually a lot more sense. That explains a lot. No, happy to be here today. Actually, exciting episode today because the geek gods and the sports gods have given us too much to talk about. So I want to start off the episode just by saying that, because I'm excited about this. I can't wait to talk about Star Wars, but we have to table it. Because next month is really Star Wars season's about to start.
Yeah, November. Starting in November, things are going to really ramp up.
But I want those listening that know me because they know I'm a Star Wars guy. I have so much to talk about with gaming, with films. I do have one. Ray, can I just do one thing today, please? Just one thing.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Someone gave me a fan theory. Now, just so people know how I do Star Wars, I do not read anything leading up to these movies. Okay. The only thing I will do is speculate based on what I've seen. So I don't mind sharing this. So this isn't a spoiler alert. This is a fan theory. And Ray, this made so much sense. And it was one of those things like I kind of thought about this in the past and it just left me. But she said to me this, okay? Because we're talking about Ray's lineage. Right? And she said, what if Ray is a clone of the Emperor? And I said, that would fix everything. And I said, and it would make sense and I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah,
it makes everything, like the dark side scene in the cave with Luke it makes sense. The pair, it all makes sense. So anyway, that's a little nugget. We don't have to discuss it. I just had to say it because someone told me that. Her name is Patty Miranda. God bless you if you listen to this episode. I believe Abrams will fix this. Move on, Lee. Stop talking about it. Lee, I have to talk about Star Wars.
Because then you could have Kylo come back to the light and strike down Rey, and that's the rise of Skywalker.
Right. And check this out too. Remember the scene with I think all J.J. Abrams trailers are horse poop. Like I don't believe anything I see because if he's showing us a dark Rey, I'm like, okay, that's not how it goes. What if that's another clone of Rey? What if they've been training another Rey in the back? I was like, yes.
I mean, they did make an entire army on Camino. There could definitely be multiple clones of
and then
everybody.
the other triumph would be he'd be able to link in the prequels in a way that would make sense. Putting a little bow on the package, Ray, bringing Star Wars back to the forefront before Obi-Wan comes out and the Mandalorian.
We'll talk about this. Have you seen the poster for the Mandalorian?
Yes, I've seen it all. We will table this because I am too. When does Disney Plus come out?
November 12th.
Okay,
I want to say.
I'm going to say it again. We will. I am legit feeling excitement in my heart right now, but we will table it. Star Wars season is coming, which means that. Full Geek Lee will be here. Gaming, comics, books, movies, TV shows.
Yep.
Your one-stop shop. So episode 30, we'll probably talk about that.
Yeah, we're only 29. Because Disney Plus figures that drops November 12th. The new video game from EA will drop November 15th, only a few days later.
Right.
And then, of course, you'll have... you'll have the new movie come out in December.
And then speaking of Disney,
I was about to say, and we have the perfect transition now. It's another Disney property. It has happened. It has occurred. We knew it would. Spider-Man is back in the MCU. Disney and Sony struck a new deal. The new deal is that Disney will put forward 25% of the costs for the film. They will get 25% of the profits, as well as maintain their merchandising rights.
Yes.
They will now have one more Spider-Man standalone film, so he will have a trilogy. and then you'll also have him in one more team-based film, whatever that may be, before he goes back to Sony or they strike another deal.
Or most likely Disney buys Sony.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
Evil overlords are evil. Anyway, listen, I don't like to gloat, but I'm going to. We predicted this. It was the first thing we said when this thing happened, when people were panicking. A lot of people are saying now, we said that was going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I didn't hear anybody say that but us, okay? I'm sure other people did. It was not wildly talked about. Ray and I don't know what episode it was. We said right away, I don't think this will stand. I think this is grandstanding. I think it's political. And I think that Spider-Man will come back to the MCU. He did. And what I want to shout out is here. I want to shout out to the geek community because we stood up. We said this is not going to be okay. A lot of people said we will not watch this movie. And I don't know what side caved. I don't really care because the people won here. The geeks won. And I want to also give, seriously, Sony and Disney credit for listening because that's not something that typically happens in the geek world, okay? Like, I don't know how many movies Sony screwed up. But anyway, they've listened this time. They've learned from their mistakes. Seriously.
Yes.
I would not be surprised, right, if Ryan Reynolds called them or something like that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, do you really want to screw this up?
I mean, the thing is they make so much money off of it too. Like, I mean, it's easy money. It's just like
understand
you're printing money. Like,
also, Kevin Feige reportedly, I think this is confirmed, but moving on to Star Wars too.
Yes.
Which I think was part of the situation there. I think they knew he was leaving, but again, I'm not going to talk about what he's doing. But I mean, that's great news. But this is phenomenal. I'm very proud of our followers. I'm very proud of the geek verse, nerd verse, whatever you want to call it, for standing up in what we believe in. And again, you're going to have people that say, who cares? It's not real. Look, I've said this before. I have my laurels. I have things I believe in. I know where comic books stand in the grand scheme of life. I don't care. Okay? This is something that's important. These movies are important to us right now.
Yep.
Okay? If there's ever been a time for escapism, it's now, and these movies give us hope.
Yeah.
Okay? And so does gaming and everything else. All right? By the way, can't wait for that new Avengers game to drop. Talk about that in another episode.
Yes.
The best part about this is now I call it the reverse memes, because we're going to talk about Flash in a minute, but the reverse memes now that are coming in the other direction now that he's coming back. The best one goes to Tom Holland himself. Upon hearing this, posts the scene from Wolf of Wall Street of Leo going, I'm not leaving. I said, I'm not leaving. I can't do the curses. The show goes on.
Yes.
Like it was brilliant. And this might have been just some BS marketing campaign. Probably not. Too wild.
Well, but even that, you see, it also makes it endears him even more to the fans because he cares about the character as much as we care about the character.
Absolutely.
And that means a lot.
Well,
that is instant geek cred. He is now a golden boy forever in geekdom,
forever.
unless he'd have to kill somebody to basically get out of geekdom, in terms of art.
I don't think that would stop it.
Probably wouldn't. Actually.
He did kill people. And you mean him personally or the character?
Him personally.
Oh, no. Come on, man. Plenty of people have killed people and been all right. Anyway, Tom Holland, if you're listening, don't kill anybody, number one.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, we're not encouraging murder. We don't condone murder on this show. But I'll tell you this. Yeah, he's great. I also want to say this about Tom Holland. I don't know if you remember this, Ray, but I actually Spider-Man Homecoming was the first Marvel movie I actually didn't see in the theater. And it was a little bit of timing. I had young children at the time. It was just very hard to get to the theater. It was a little bit of disinterest. I was a little bit jaded. I didn't want to see Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
And I love the MCU. Okay, I just chose not to go, and that has come full circle where now I can't wait to see Tom Holland in the role. Here's the other cool thing about Tom Holland is he's getting a little bit older. What I mean older is he doesn't look like a teenager anymore. And we've yet to see in the films the older Spider-Man. Now, for those of you listening who don't know, older Spider-Man is not 50, 60. I'm talking about like mid-20s to 30-year-old Spider-Man who goes through a really different journey. He goes through a really different journey, okay? Whereas like the origin story we've done too much. And the thing is, they kind of built towards this. I mean, the villains that he encounters when he's older, his relationship with Mary Jane, I don't think that's going to be the next movie or anything like that. But we did talk about that too, about potentially a time jump. But I'd love to see Tom Holland kind of grow with Spider-Man to get to some of those. Specifically Venom, Carnage, Doc Ock. I mean, there's a lot of storylines that come into play when he's older, including like when he's exhausted with being Spider-Man. And that's not
Spider-Man no more.
Yeah, and it's like they kind of tease that in some of the other movies about him not wanting to be Spider-Man, but this one's a little different. It's not like he's wrestling with his identity. It's just he just doesn't want to do it anymore. He's just tired. He's tired. He's tired of hurting people. Anyway, looking forward to this. Great news, really great news that he's back. All is right once again.
And now we can speculate. I mean, they got a release date. I believe it was July of 2021.
That's
film.
fast. That's fast.
Yeah, that's very fast. That also makes me think that they might have already started pre-production on this film when the deal fell through initially, and that's also kind of why both parties wanted to come to the table and get this done.
So go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
But now we have 2 years to speculate about what it's about, or at least probably a year and a half till we get the first trailer. And I am excited because we've talked about this before in the show, where usually Spider-Man starts small and gets big, goes cosmic, goes Avengers and stuff. This feels like they're going in the reverse. I think that's very interesting, and I'm very excited about that.
I am too. Now, this is also bringing us to this is going to be an interesting transition, if I may. Okay. So now we have entered it's unprecedented, actually, where we're about to be. Follow me here, okay? There is no, as of today, Marvel movie that has been teased. We know that Black Widow is the next movie, but we have seen nothing. I don't expect to see anything until Star Wars comes out in December, okay? Most likely,
Right.
So now here's the thing. This is the first lull we've had in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in some time. And what is here to fill the lull is two things. One, Joker, which I believe comes out this week.
Yes, that's right. This Friday.
Right?
We're recording on a Monday. It'll be out this Friday. Yes,
which we will talk about in depth, I'm sure, very soon.
I'm sure we'll do a spoiler cast down the road,
A movie that has been heralded by critics now as Oscar-worthy, which is, and I've never heard that before with DC. Rarely MCU, but I've never heard that before. They say that Joaquin Phoenix's performance is good. Actually, it's so good that there are articles out there that movie might inspire violence, which is how I know it's going to be good. Because movies don't do that, you idiots. But anyway.
Yeah, no.
All right? It's clearly the gaming universe. Gaming is what causes violence.
Yeah, video games, metal, and movies, violent movies are what cause violence.
When we were at PAX, everyone was so violently hugging and kind.
High fives. The high fives were so violent.
I've never seen so many introverts extroverted.
Yes.
Okay, so Joker comes out. So here's the thing. DC now has a shot to really come into their own before they will inevitably screw that up. Okay? And you know that I'm right. Okay, this movie is going to come out and be awesome, and then they're going to release like the Batman movie that has nothing to do with it, and we'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay? But for a sliver of time, DC will have its day.
Yes.
Right? And now if Marvel releases the Black Widow trailer with Joker, that would be the ultimate FU. But we'll get into that later, okay? Joker's coming. And the other thing that's coming is the one thing that DC has always done well, okay, which is their CW TV shows.
Yes.
Okay? Crisis on Infinite Earths is coming, okay?
Yeah, that's also November, yep.
Yes, okay, and we want to talk about that for a little bit. We haven't talked about it too much on here. To start, let's just talk about DC and CW and why it's always worked. It's always been a little bit campy. It's always been a little bit silly. And so has DC. That's why it works.
Yeah.
Okay? Those TV shows are beautiful. They're done right. And this is going all the way back to Smallville. All right? Which we'll get into in a minute. But Crisis on Infinite Earths is coming. It's a major event. It's going to come across multiple episodes starting with Supergirl, then Batwoman, then The Flash, then Arrow, then Legends of Tomorrow, which I think is going to be one of their last episodes, if not the last episode.
Yeah,
right?
So that series, I believe, is that and Arrow, I believe, are both sunsetting. So they will probably, this crisis will probably result in several deaths and several show endings.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Not to mention that we have some crossover here. Now, here's the cool thing about this. In addition, if you haven't watched these shows, I actually think you'll still be able to watch this. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
All of the current actors and actresses in those shows are obviously going to be in them. So I'm not going to go through the people that are in them. You can look that up if you don't know like who's playing Supergirl, so forth and so on. What's cool about this is the people that are coming either back or introducing themselves. Number one is Brendan Routh, who is going to be playing Superman, but not Superman from the movies, Kingdom Come Superman. Okay?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to dive. I'll let Ray dive into the canon of that, but just know that for a minute. That's a very powerful role. I'm actually happy that he's back. Here's another one.
He was also the Atom in Legends of Tomorrow.
Exactly.
So he's had an appearance. He's double dipping. He's had multiple appearances in this universe, and it's good to see him get a chance to don the S again, and he looks great in the costume.
He does.
You haven't seen the pictures yet, so
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't look like him. I mean, that's what's. It looks like the comic book Kingdom Come Superman. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, Ray, do you want to give the list? I mean, I don't want to assume people do or do not know, but do you want to give like a 10-second Kingdom Come?
Kingdom Come is an alternate future Earth where the heroes have basically started to overstep their bounds. There is a future generation of heroes led by a character named Magog. This is always the hard part about characters in comic books is you don't necessarily know how.
You say Magog, I say Magog, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing off.
And they start killing people and whatnot, and Superman has gone into retirement.
Yes.
And they have to basically get Superman out of retirement to once again be that beacon of hope. And Batman is super old, and he's kind of leading the resistance heroes to kind of like be like, no, we need there's a line. We can't ever cross that line. He's got this amazing bat armor on.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's fantastic. So it's the old heroes against the new heroes. So obviously a lot of the new heroes come over to the old hero side and wisen up, and the few heroes who refuse basically become the villains. And it's just an amazing commentary on superheroes and their place in the world and the lines that we have in our society, that we have to adhere by, and that we ourselves and our laws cannot cross. It's
right.
Really, really well done. It's one of the best books of the past 20 years.
That's why Tom Holland can't murder people. So, in addition to Superman, okay, we're also going to get the Monitor back, and he will also be playing the Anti-Monitor. That is confirmed. Tom Cavanaugh is going to be Pariah. Now, you mentioned this too. In addition to obviously, in addition to Brandon Routh being Superman, we're also getting the returns of Tom Welling as Smallville Superman. He's going to be in this episode, which is really a big deal because that's the CW show that kind of started most of this.
Yeah.
All right. You're getting Lois Lane as well from that show. I don't know if you heard this, Ray, but actually Burt Ward's going to be in this somehow.
Yes, Burt. They're somehow going to have Burt Ward. I don't know if they're going to have him be a Robin or if he's just going to be like another like a character off to the side. Of course,
it would make sense. So Burt Ward played Robin in the old '60s Batman,
1966.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it would make sense because here's the other big reveal: is Kevin Conroy. If you don't know who that is, you're not a Batman fan. Kevin Conroy is going to be live action old Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of cool if Burt Ward was some sort of Robin, but I think you're right. He's probably just going to be a side character. But Kevin Conroy is if you the voice of Batman, that's Kevin Conroy. That's all I'm going to say. All right, he's going to be Bruce Wayne, an older Bruce Wayne from the future. Okay, it's amazing. All right, like I said, it sounds like there's going to be multiple Lois Lanes, multiple Supermans, which is a crisis on Infinite Earths.
They brought Huntress back from Birds of Prey.
That's
which
right.
Only lived for one season on CW. Bit of a cult classic. I mean they're literally pulling from their entire television history, and they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a seminal story in comic book history because it really established it. It pared down the DC universe into this one continuity back in 1985. It ended up spurring the modern age of comics. It led to George Perez's run on Wonder Woman. It led to Batman Year One, and it led to all this other stuff that happened after Crisis on Infinite Earths. We had this amazing renaissance of comics in the late 80s, and it killed Superboy, and it came back later. And it killed Supergirl, and she came back later. It killed Jason Todd for the first time. People don't even realize that Jason Todd died in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's right.
And then came back as the street urchin that everybody hated in the 80s. He was originally literally a Dick Grayson clone. Well, not literally. He was copy and pasted, right? He's like, he was a blonde kid acrobat, had the same origin story. He's like, I'm going to dye my hair black so this way you don't feel bad that Dick Grayson's gone to Bloodhaven. Like it.
Can we call him Landfill too? That's an obscure movie quote. Ray said it. You said it great. They're doing this renaissance of comics. All right. So before DC killed the death with the death of Superman in the 90s, this was the biggest risk they ever took, and it really was good. In fact, In fact, 20 years later, Infinite Crisis came out. It was 20 years later. That was another good storyline. Probably 25 years. But anyway, it was a really good storyline as well. But this is really the culmination that DC needed right now. I mean, again, DC does some things really well. They do some things really poorly. This TV series, if you've been looking to get into it, this is your chance, okay? And it's worth the time. All right? I'm very, very intrigued to see how they're going to do this. I was actually a big fan of, this is funny. I watched Smallville. I watched the first 3 seasons and the last 3 seasons. I skipped most of the middle, and apparently you can do that because it all made sense at the end. But it's going to be interesting because at the end of Smallville, spoiler alert, Clark Kent becomes Superman. Go figure. And I believe Welling is coming back as Superman in this.
He's as
right?
Superman. Yeah,
right?
As of right now, that's what they're saying. But
yeah,
what's great too is like you said, if you haven't, because I haven't been watching most of the shows. I watched the first season of Flash.
Flash was good.
But I watched last year's event that first introduced the Monitor to begin with.
Yeah.
Played by LaMonica Garrett, who does a fantastic job with that. You can jump. I was able to watch that same thing. It was across all the episodes, and it has a beginning, middle, and end all unto itself that you can just jump in and enjoy it. You don't have to worry about the 8 seasons of Arrow, the 8 seasons of Flash that came before. It'll all still make sense, and I think that's what's the best part about this event is that you can jump into it when it starts and just watch it for a week and still probably follow along with it.
So I'm going to say this too. Yeah. So by the way, this starts December 8th. So it's December 8th is Supergirl. December 9th is Batwoman. December 10th is The Flash. January 14th is Arrow. January 14th also is DC Legends of Tomorrow. So that's a back-to-back thing. So they're going to leave it obviously as a cliffhanger through the new year, that's something they've always done. That's nothing new. They did that with every one of those shows does that. So yeah, you're gonna feel left on the hook. I know in the age of Netflix binging, that's not fun. But hey, I trust them. But I want to say this again: if you are a fan of DC, if you like Superman, Batman, Supergirl, all this stuff, and you haven't been watching these shows, this will make you feel a little more whole in terms of your love for DC. Again, we've always said this: Marvel is humans trying to become gods. And DC is gods trying to become human. That's why DC doesn't always translate well to film, but it does translate well to TV. It always has. Superman started outside of comics, they started on TV. All these properties started on TV. Everybody forgets that, right? So DC had a lot of in terms of Superman had a TV show in the 1950s, in the 1940s. I'm saying is that these originated on TV before film. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yes, right?
No,
for sure.
Not the comic, but in terms of their cinematic debut. Okay, like DC is always. This is the way I've always liked DC done because it's silly to the point it's believable. I don't know if that makes sense. All right. Yeah. But definitely check this out if you haven't already. Okay, it's coming in December. It's a pretty big event. Ray, we talked about this too. The big questions we have about this are kind of who else is going to be in this. We talked about, will Dean Cain come back as Superman from Lois and Clark? We also talked about some of these other kind of people that might show up, might not. The character of Lex Luthor, is he going to be in this? Is that going to be a surprise? I know the guy that played him in Smallville already said no. All right.
Right.
It would be funny if the guy from the movie showed up. Actually, that wouldn't be funny.
Or
Jesse, whatever the name.
The thing is you have a current Lex Luthor in John Cryer in this universe.
Right.
So you could have him.
That's right.
Come in that way. So I mean, there's different
ways
that
Gene Hackman could show up.
That would be unbelievable.
That would be amazing. I don't think he will, but that would be awesome.
If he came out of retirement to play Lex Luthor one more time, it would be the TV event of the decade.
The greatest criminal mind of our time. Okay.
Otisburg.
Yeah. This is oh God, we're geeks. It's so great, and there's a good chance if you're listening, you know what we just did. Anyway, Crisis on Infinite Earths, great storyline. Go pick up the comic too if you haven't. If you we should totally say that. Go pick up the comic. You can legit get it anywhere. All right.
Yeah,
it's worth reading.
It's collected now 100 times over. It's one of the best runs. It's one of the best things that DC ever did.
Right. It is
for sure. But
there's a great picture here of the Monitor on Twitter on Instagram. It's the guy that plays the Monitor, and he's reading the comic book, and it says that the Monitor is out here cheating. The crisis is coming.
Yeah,
brilliant. Anyway, enough gloating on this. Seriously, Ray and I are going to watch it. We're going to report back on it. It's definitely worth seeing. Check this out. If you want to feel good about DC again after Joker, because Joker's going to make you feel really scared and good before they screw it up again. This is your chance. Because they're I think the only other DC thing coming out is Wonder World. Wonder Woman
in June,
not 80, right? Like that's it. That's the, Wonder 80. That's the only thing announced, right?
I mean, they've got other things
planned.
I mean, they obviously have the Batman film, but I mean, everything else
nothing's announced though. Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, nothing has a date.
Yeah,
right?
there's
now Ray.
There's no dates that I know of.
Here's a question, Ray. Yeah. I was alive in 1984.
Although actually, one thing is I should say. One quick note: Suicide Squad started filming yesterday with James Gunn.
Yes, so that should be good.
That is actually also on the way. Actually, it was very
Birds
nice.
of Prey.
It was a.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's
we
right.
forgot that.
Yeah,
I apologize.
It's the version of that Harley Quinn that nobody cares about. So look, she did a great job, but that was a terrible. That Suicide Squad movie was terrible.
It was really bad.
Like, I mean, it's
so
just,
bad they're rebooting it.
Yeah, exactly. They're already rebooting it with James Gunn. Like, I mean,
the same name.
So I have zero interest in the Birds of Prey movie just because I don't want a continuation of that story of that universe.
What, Ray? You didn't like that movie? Well,
no.
Listen.
No.
We're not going to do a Giants rant this week. You might as well. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, Birds of Prey is the other one coming. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time here, for sure. But yeah, definitely a lot of geekdom stuff coming. Like we're going into the season. Halloween is coming, which is always a good time for us.
Yes.
But yes, check it out. Please check it out. Crisis on Infinite Earths. DC, this is the most we're ever going to push you. Oh, so Ray, I was saying, Wonder Woman, 84. I was alive. I'll be alive when that movie takes place. I'll be under 1, most likely. When were you born?
85.
85. So you won't be alive. So I'm guessing that this movie is about our origin and how Wonder Woman set it up so that you and I would be doing a podcast one day.
About Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, that's a time loop. We did it. Wait, is this a paradox? Is the world going to blow up?
Nope, we're okay. Everything's fine.
Whew! Dodge the bullet there.
According to Marvel rules, we're actually going to take ourselves out of this timeline. We're going to go to another timeline, and we're going to put ourselves right back into this timeline.
Okay, that's not confusing at all. That's not how time travel works. God, what a great mechanism.
Oh, goodness.
That's not how football rules work. There you go. There you go.
Oh, but anyway, there was one more thing before we get into sports, really quick. Actually, a good transition before esports.
Yes, must talk about this.
I want to briefly touch on esports because yesterday, the day when we're recording this on a Monday. Yesterday was the second season of the Overwatch League. It was their championship. The San Francisco Shock knocked off the Vancouver Titans in a stunning turn of events. Basically. Like most game tournaments, there's a winner's bracket and then there's a loser's bracket, so it's 2 loss eliminations.
Yep.
San Francisco lost their opening round matchup to Atlanta, and then did not drop. Not even a game. Not even a game. They didn't drop a map. They went 20-0, 4-0 in the next 5 rounds to win the championship after losing to Atlanta. So they came out of the loser's bracket. This is an unprecedented run. No. By a team that clearly gelled at the exact right time and got hot and just ran roughshod over the rest of the league, which nobody saw coming.
Nobody. And I'll tell you this, Ray. I love the way you're speaking about this because you're actually explaining this like it's a sporting event, which brings me to the larger point. This was in Philadelphia. It was at the Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah.
It was full.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sold out.
It is time for everyone to realize that this thing. I mean, I don't know how people still don't. It seems like people don't get how big this is. This stuff.
The Shock won. They won a $1.1
million
prize. Yeah.
And second place got like half
600,000. 600,000. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
All the playoff teams. So the six teams, it's like the NFL. 6 teams or a conference of the NFL. 6 teams make the playoffs. The first 2, the 2 division winners, and then 4 wild cards. So
can I just say how I love that we finish each other's sentences?
Yeah.
So, it's a huge deal. Like this is not coming anymore. This is here. Okay, we're talking about Atlanta versus like like, here's my other prediction that Ray Carcillo will one day be on live television announcing these events. You heard it here first. Episode 25. The date is September 30th, 2019. I'm predicting the future. I do that from time to time. But massive, just massive. And like, here's the thing. I love the way you described it because it's like, yeah, they came back and they did it. Like, this is coming. This is going to be huge in terms of, the reach of it. It's just going to take another 5 years to 10 years before this becomes a new thing. We're also on the, I saw this today. And it kind of hit me between the eyes. We are on the dawn of a new decade. I forgot about that. Today starts the final quarter of this decade.
Yeah, that's right. 2020, right? We're only 3 months away now, basically.
Right. So that freaked me out a little bit, not going to lie to you. But, yeah, it's going to be another decade here. So, and I think this is the decade of esports coming to fruition. And with everything that's happening in actual sports, pro sports, athletic sports, it's gonna work. You can see it's gonna pave its way in. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, and Lee, we used to talk about this years ago when I was at ESPN and the NHL, saying that you watch video games is going to become a legit sporting type event, and now
it is.
That was 10 years ago, and now here we are. Think about where we will be in 10 years.
Yeah,
so 10 more years. So it's very exciting. Also, another big thing that's going to happen with Overwatch League. So you mentioned that it was in Philadelphia yesterday. All the matches take place in Los Angeles. There's an arena here in Los Angeles, but you're seeing now $50 million stadiums being specifically built for these. They're smaller arenas, but still for these events. And now, starting next season, the teams will actually have to go on the road and play their opponents in an actual away stadium. Could you imagine? We haven't seen this before in video games. What it would be like to actually, like, when Atlanta has to go to San Francisco in San Francisco's home arena with thousands of San Francisco Shocks screaming. Like, what will that do to the mentality of, like, these teams? Like, we might actually see a true home field advantage that never happened in video games before.
Well, you're going to see a lot of stuff. You're going to see, obviously, people wearing jerseys/shirts/ whatever of their teams. You're going to see a lot more e-commerce happening. Here's the other thing, too, taking this to the next level. When you look at the business side of this, all right, video games don't get tired, ever. Like, you want to know why people are building these stadiums? Because they can go 365 every day. Something can be going on because no one's going to get tired.
No.
All right? And they could legit every single day have an event at these arenas. That's why they're building them. And they can pay and they can have people come in. All right? Football, 16 games a year. Hockey, 82 games a year. Baseball, 3,472 days a year. All right? Basketball. I think basketball's in it's 82 as well, right?
It's also 82.
Yeah. So, like, all right, think about this. All right, I know concerts and stuff, you can do something every day in these stadiums. Not to mention, we haven't even talked about minor leagues or all of this stuff. So, yeah, this is if you were looking for a time or you were looking for this is not going to happen. It's happening. Yeah. In fact, it's too late now if you haven't seen this coming, okay? But, like, if you're an investor, start investing in this stuff because it's the fastest growing sport on the planet. And I'm not saying that as a joke. This is the fastest growing sport on the planet.
Robert Kraft has partial ownership of a team, I believe. He owns the New England Patriots.
All those Super Bowls were not enough. He wants more.
Yeah. But I think the Dolphins owner is involved with one of the teams. I think you're seeing the group
he needs a bone. Sorry. Come on, I got to say that. The Dolphins, he needs anything at this point.
Unfortunately, the Florida teams are just as bad in Overwatch League as they are in
outside Tampa Bay. And I'm only talking hockey. Although we will talk about the Bucks in a bit.
I will say when we get to football, we will talk about the Bucks' huge upset yesterday. Yeah. But first, you mentioned, Lee, that baseball. So yes, esports is here. You also mentioned that baseball is 3,000 days out of the year. Well, the regular season, at least for baseball, is now over. The playoffs are here.
Gods.
The first wild card game is tonight. Yes, things actually matter now. The Washington Nationals are taking on the Milwaukee Brewers in a one-game playoff. Lee, who do you have in this National League wild card matchup?
Oh, that's a tough question, man. Okay, let me comment first on the quick, just two things, all right?
Yes.
Because you're more predictor than I am, okay? Mm-hmm. One is that I'm glad the season's over. As we talked about this in August, it's like the last month just sucks. It just sucks.
It was very rough, even for everybody.
Yeah, I get it. If you're fighting for that wild card spot, I get it. I really do. But it's just like, the 3 or 4 teams that are doing that. Like, it's so, like, I'm a Phillies fan, that. It's like I had to watch Bryce Harper yesterday talk to the fans about, like the Phillies were super injured this year. I mean, I give them a little slack for that, okay? But it's just like, we're going to rain again, and this is not the season we wanted. And I'm like, great, and then they lost to the Marlins.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like it just no desire. In fact, I'm ready for this time because I actually enjoy the baseball playoffs. I think it's fun. All right. I don't want to make any predictions. The only prediction I'm going to make, Ray, is that I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. Oh, God, I just said that out loud. Oh.
I am knocking on wood because I hope you're right. Because from what I've seen, and I hope it's just the Yankees kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit in this last week. The Yankees looked real bad this last week of the season.
I think that's a good sign that you're going to win the World Series.
I do. Goodness knows I hope so because I think here's the thing, if the Yankees can get by Houston, I think then the Yankees have it. That is the one big threat to the Yankees because Verlander and Cole, they have such a tremendous pitching staff. They have great hitting. Their hitting is just as good as ours, if not better. I think it's going to come down to pitching, and I don't know. Tanaka, Paxton, God, I don't know what to expect from these guys.
I don't either.
Luis Severino came back from injury. Domingo Germán is gone now because he's been accused supposedly of abusing his girlfriend. So he's gone from the team. Like, I mean, these are distractions the Yankees didn't need before the playoffs.
They're the distractions that you will either come together. Seriously, you'll either come together or you won't.
Yes.
But I think that team is very powerful. Okay, games start tomorrow, right? Tuesday.
So the first wild card game is actually, you're right. The first wild game is actually tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
You're right.
Okay,
yes.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. All right. This is so tough. Brewers Nationals, right?
Yep.
See, this is the problem. My predictor's not based on any of the talent. It's based on like who I like or not like the best. So it's like I kind of want the Brewers to win, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind throwing the Nationals a bone. They lost Harper. They're in the playoffs. I mean, so like, this is tough, man. This is tough. I'm going to give the edge to the Nats.
I will go the opposite way, and I will pick the Brewers because
they have the experience.
I think both teams have the experience, but I think the Nationals have a history of choking. The Brewers are the hottest team going into the playoffs, and we've seen that before. That team, I mean, I remember the Rockies 15 years ago who won like 23 of 30 to get into the playoffs and then just ran roughshod over the National League before the Red Sox wiped the floor with them in the World Series. I think it was that was who the Red Sox beat one of those years. Anyway, I try to block it from my memory. I think the Brewers, being the hottest team, I think they're going to easily go into Nationals Park, and I think they're going to hand Washington another heartbreaking playoff loss.
We will see. We will see. All right, and then on Wednesday, you're going to have the Rays versus the A's, and I'm hoping the A's win that because God knows the Oakland fans need a break right now.
I think the A's will win that. I don't think the Rays were built for the playoffs.
No, I just don't want to see Tampa Bay. Just had
with
enough
12,000 people there at their home arena. Yeah, no. Actually, I heard they're going to play the first 5 innings in Tampa, and then the next 4 are going to be
That'll be good. They're walking. They're walking up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the full series, Dodgers will play the winner of one of those series, and then Cardinals Braves. I hope the Cardinals win because I'm not a Braves fan.
Yeah.
Astros will play the winner of the wild card. Twins and Yankees will be a very, very good series.
A lot of home runs.
Actually, I'm looking forward to that. That should be pretty fun baseball to watch.
Yeah.
You might be able to say something stupid like the winner of that series might go to the World Series. But that's a tough prediction to make, obviously. But I'm saying like that's how good those teams are right now. But we'll see. Like I said, we'll see.
I think first off, I don't think it's a stretch to say that the American League team will win the World Series this year. Whoever is the American League representative will win the World Series. I mean, even if it's Oakland.
Yeah. I would love to see Oakland win a World Series. I really mean that. I mean, I would like to see Billy Beane win. It wouldn't bother me.
I agree, and also they're the last team left in Oakland.
Yeah.
Now, the Warriors have moved to San Francisco proper. The Raiders obviously next year are moving to Vegas.
They need a break. They need something. They need something to happen.
So that would be something special. But I think and I do think that because they've given Houston fits over the regular season, they are a team that could handle Houston in a short series.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see. It's a good lineup for the playoffs all around. Okay, minus the Braves. I don't like the Braves. No, that's just my fandom. The Braves are a great baseball team, but that Twins Yankees series is one I'm actually wanting to watch. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, look, you got a lot of familiar faces here. The Astros are a pretty powerful team. I mean, like if you're looking at experience here, okay. The Brewers won not too long ago. Excuse me. I mean, like Dodgers obviously have been around. So it's. I mean, the Dodgers have got to have some retribution type stuff going. They're going to be hungry. I didn't talk about them a lot, but they should. I mean, they should want to win this year more than anybody else. To be fair,
I don't think a team has ever gone to 3 straight World Series and lost all 3.
That would be hilarious.
I would love it. I think it would be great because I love to see Los Angelinos suffer.
Yeah. Bills fans, you might have some close company soon. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I honestly don't think the National League team, any of the National League teams, are as strong as the American League team.
This is what I say. When you get to the World Series, it's just anything's possible. I mean, you just got to get there. Yeah, and like on paper, I agree with you. And that's a pretty typical thing. The American League being a little bit better, but. I just think, and you saw this in the Cup final last year. It's like the Bruins should have killed St. Louis. It looked like they were going to, and St. Louis comes back and win. You just don't know what's going to happen. And there's the emotional aspect. Again, if the Dodgers play the Yankees, if Dodgers play anybody in the World Series, I mean, they have to want this more than anybody else. I mean, that's a huge factor. Like that's always the enigma for me with the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl run. It's like, how did you not want this more than the other team? And people that watch this, isn't that simple? This and that. I'm not saying it's that simple. I'm just saying that that drive has got to be there, and it's amazing to me that it wasn't. Like I don't think they were mentally prepared for the Super Bowls. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I mean it was clear. I mean the first one against the Giants they were.
Yeah.
But they got the Redskins surprised them, and then. Both times, it was obvious that the Cowboys wanted that game more.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. So, baseball playoffs. Looking forward to it. I do enjoy this time of year. I do enjoy October baseball. It's fun. It gets cold. I will say that I think my Phillies will be in this running next year, assuming they can stay healthy. We'll see what happens in the offseason. And for all of you whose baseball team didn't make it, welcome to football hockey season in basketball. Yes. It's a good time of year. I used to hate August, but now we're getting into my time, the NHL season. We won't get too much into it, but starts this Wednesday with a rematch of, well, not a rematch, but the 2 Stanley Cup champions of the last 2 years, the Washington Capitals, will take on the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday night. We'll have more on the NHL season soon, maybe some predictions. We'll talk about it. If you want more hockey news, go to WeLive.hockey. I know a guy that runs that. But I actually want to turn quickly to football with you, Ray.
Yes.
Because
speaking of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bills. Well, here's the thing. This is what's funny. I owed you a rant, but now none of us can rant. But here's my rant. Okay. Okay. Let me try and get like you real quick. Okay. Ready? Well, you can't win without receivers, Ray. Turns out you can't win games without receivers. We lost to the Lions in a really tight game where we missed the first down by 1 yard. It was heartbreaking, and we dropped 7 balls. And the greatest thing to come out of that game was that, and I think most of you have seen this now, but Nelson Aguilar dropped, I think, 3 really important passes in this game. Now, this is 2 games ago. The Eagles won against Green Bay on Thursday. I'll get to that rant in a minute. But the best part that came out of this game is 2 things. One is that it made us realize that, hey, maybe we should run the ball. Okay? And then against Green Bay, we did that, and we won in Green Bay. And actually, I think we snapped. No, it's not. I actually am very proud of my football team right now because that was very much a must-win game for us, really, if you look at the season as a whole. We had to split the Lions and the Packers, and I thought it would go the other way. But it's a massive victory for the Eagles, and they found the running backs finally, and now we have our receivers coming back. But going back to the Lions, Nelson Aguilar dropped some pretty easy passes, which has always been his problem, right? He's always had a problem with catching passes. The best part of this game is, and Ray, you actually posted this for us, but if you haven't seen yet, a man in Philadelphia, this is a real story. His house was on fire. And they were throwing his children out the window for him to catch, and he caught every one of his children, okay? And the news is interviewing this hero. He is a hero. Catching children from a burning home. And what does he do? He says, I'm making the catch, unlike Aguilar. He took a moment out of his home burning down and catching these kids just to let Aguilar know he needs to catch the ball. That is fandom right there. Okay? I don't care what any of you think about my city. I hear it all the time. It doesn't bother me because no one hates Philadelphia sports more than people in Philadelphia. You're never going to break that. Okay? That is true fandom right there. If you cannot respect the level of fandom in this city, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? We are very, 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 I'm not going to say good, strong fans. Okay? But I was going to rant, but it was going to be a joke. I mean, you can't win without receivers. You can't win. We didn't have a good receiving core. Eagles are incredibly injured right now, and they're still finding a way to win. I think Carson Wentz has looked incredible the last 3 games. When you have 7 drop passes, it ain't the quarterback's fault. All right. So what that tells me is if we can get healthy, Jackson comes back. I give a big shout out to the Eagles players that have come into the lineup now that are either rookies or we're signing them out of nowhere, finding a way to win in Green Bay. That team's going to feel pretty confident now going into next week against the Jets.
Yeah,
the Mets of the NFL. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who do you have in Week 6?
The week after the Jets.
Yeah,
let me bring that up. I think it's is it the Giants?
No, I don't think
it's a divisional matchup. I want to. It's probably the Cowboys. Let me bring it up.
Probably. All I'm gonna say is that look, the Jets are terrible, and you can probably put out your second string and still beat the Jets.
I don't know.
But
they are terrible.
But what I'm gonna say is that if it's somebody like the Cowboys in Week 6, beware the trap.
Well, okay.
Beware the trap game. We see it all the time in the NFL. Teams that start looking ahead, they start looking further down the schedule. The Jets are very much a team that you can overlook.
Yes.
And you shouldn't do that.
Well, I don't think they will.
You should put a whooping on them.
I don't think we will overlook them. That's not our style. We don't tend to overlook teams that tend to overlook us. But okay, we're playing the Jets. I'm sorry. Week 6, we're playing the Vikings. All right.
Definitely another 2-2 team. Definitely a team you don't know what Viking team you're gonna get because Kirk Cousins is Jekyll and Hyde. When Kirk Cousins is on, the Vikings are damn near unbeatable. When he's off, like he was yesterday against Chicago, they look like a team that's not gonna win 6 games this year.
You will let us know next week when the Giants take on the Vikings, how that's going to play out. Then we play the Vikings the following week, and then you play the Pats on October 10th. It's a Thursday night. That will be an interesting game. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then in Week 7, we have the Cowboys. Okay, so and that means you're probably playing the Cardinals. Well, that's another winnable game for you. So, Ray, I'm very happy with my 2-2 team. We're both very happy today as New Orleans defeated the Cowboys last night with a backup quarterback. I watched that on an airplane. It was funny. I was on an airplane going to Philadelphia, and you could hear people cheering on the airplane when the Cowboys lost. Cowboys fans, I know you're out there. Here's the thing. Most of you have been pretty cool. Most of you have said that we haven't really played anybody yet. Last night's not going to feel good when you lose to a team without Drew Brees.
You lost a winnable game last night.
Yes,
for sure.
very much winnable game. So now this gets interesting. Okay, Ray's Giants are 2-2, and I called Ray last night on the airplane before it took off. I called him on the airplane. I said, thank the football gods the Eagles won Thursday because I would not be able to handle you if the Giants had a better record than us going into today.
I mean, it would be something. It would have been something, but fortunately, I mean, Washington is. We knew Washington was bad, but they look. I mean, talk about putting a whooping on a team. The Giants still played a sloppy game yesterday. Daniel Jones threw his first 2 career interceptions. Yeah. We also lost
out of Duke.
We also lost 2 fumbles. We had 4 turnovers. Fortunately, the Redskins also had 4 turnovers.
Horrible.
Because they put in Dwayne Haskins, their rookie quarterback, and he showed flashes of ability. But he's and this is what in the draft. This is what everybody said. Haskins has a lot of talent, but he's much rawer. He's more raw than Daniel Jones is, and this is what is proven out in yesterday. Daniel Jones was a quarterback that was ready to take the reins of an NFL team almost immediately out of college.
Right.
Haskins is going to be a project. There's talent there. He showed it on some passes. He showed it on some runs. He showed it in his progressions. but he also made some really bad throws behind his receivers where the Giants were able to make. Janoris Jenkins made his first 2 interceptions of the year. Jabril Peppers, who of course we traded Odell Beckham Jr. for to Cleveland, was part of that deal, had a pick 6, which basically sealed the deal. And the Giant defense, aside from the secondary, the defense, I mean, they just were in Haskins' face. They were in Case Keenum's face, who started. I mean, at the very least, I will say this. I am feeling much more confident about my 7-9 prediction now because we are beating the teams. We are beating the teams that we should beat.
Right, I got to be honest with you. I like it a lot more when you lose. It's much more fun. That was a great analysis, but there's just no anger. you even tried to start that way. It was sloppy, but my goodness, were they good? That's kind of that's kind of where you went with that.
Look, there's a lot they need to clean up, but look, this is the thing, right? when it's Monday morning after a win. Everybody's going to be a lot more.
It does feel good. I'm not going to lie to you. Winning that Green Bay game, I felt pretty good the next day. I'm one of these guys. When the Eagles lose, I feel bad for about 12 seconds, 15 seconds. This is just my personality. It just doesn't bother me. It has nothing to do with my fandom. Like Ray knows this. I mean, I love my sports teams. I really am into them, but it's just I just choose not to lose any time on it. Yeah. But when they win, man, it feels pretty good. Yeah. Right? If you multiply that feeling by 10 billion, that's what it's like to have a child array, by the way. One day you'll find out. I've had two. Hopefully, yeah. Just some other notable scores here. The Patriots killed the Bills quarterback and won the game 16-10.
Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate. It looked like the Bills offense had finally woken up, and the Patriots defense wasn't having it.
Yeah,
I think it was Patrick Chung. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but
someone
clear helmet-to-helmet hit. Which, by the way, a similar style helmet-to-helmet hit led to the ejection of Burfict in the Raider Colts game. So the fact that nobody was ejected from the Patriots-Bills game is kind of ridiculous, and again shows the inconsistency with officiating in the NFL.
I think next week, just because we're running out of time, I do want to talk about rules in the NFL with the XFL coming, because it is getting ridiculous. I mean, there's too many rules. There's too many rules here. So Pats won against the Bills. Chiefs won a great game against the Lions. That was fun to watch.
Amazing game. There was 5 straight possessions where each team fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
Chiefs fumbled it, Lions fumbled it, Chiefs fumbled it, Lions fumbled it, Chiefs fumbled it. Craziness.
Mahomes just proven, though, he's for real. Completely for real. Still undefeated, by the way, along with the Patriots. Raiders defeated the Colts in a game that no one cared about. The Chargers beat the Dolphins in a game that no one cared about. Yeah. We talked about the Giants. The Browns came alive, 40-25 over the Ravens.
Chubb with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, not sold on them yet, but that's a good confidence booster.
Yeah.
Panthers beat the Texans. The Bucks scored 55 points against the Rams, who scored 40 points in a shotgun matchup.
Yeah, did not see that coming whatsoever. Was watching that. I mean, and this is what people say, right? When Winston is, again, another one of these quarterbacks that when Jekyll and Hyde, usually Winston is Hyde, though. Usually it's very hard to watch Jameis Winston. But when for some reason, when everything clicks, there is a lot of talent on that Tampa Bay team, and now it's you don't know what you're going to get out of them. So I'm feeling even better now that the Giants beat them. 32-31.
It was a tale of the quarters. This is what's funny. So it was 7-0 Bucks after the first. Then in the second quarter, Bucks put up 21 to the Rams 17, which could have been a score on its own.
Yeah.
Right. Then in the third quarter, just 2 field goals. Then the fourth quarter, 24-20 Buccaneers. Yeah. So that was just those teams' defenses are not happy. So 55. So that knocks off the Rams as the other undefeated team. Seahawks took on the Cardinals 127-10. Bears beat the Vikings. Vikings about to probably go through a miserable season. The Jags beat the Broncos with Minshew 2. I just like saying that.
Minshew magic strikes again. Did you see some of his scrambles for the touchdown passes?
No, I just like saying his name, Minshew. It's just something about it.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it is magic because he was there 1 second and then he disappeared. Like the Bronco defensive line was they didn't know where he went. And then he would pop up on the other side of the field and throw a 7-yard touchdown pass. It was just absolutely unbelievable. And then
go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
And also, to go back to the Viking game, we mentioned it earlier that Kirk Cousins is going to be the savior or the death of this team. Not good that his receivers, specifically Adam Thielen, came out yesterday and kind of had some backhanded comments saying about it's hard. You need to be able to pass the ball in this league if you want to win. You need to have a balanced
I did
offense.
see that. I did see that. I hate that. I hate when players do that.
Yep, and Stephon Diggs, his other receiver, refused to talk to the media whatsoever. So that is not a good sign about the Viking locker room. It's interesting to see if Mike Zimmer can get them back on the same page.
Well, he'll
as
get
they
fired
head
if
to
he
Giant
doesn't.
Stadium.
He's going to get fired if he doesn't because
Yeah.
I am not a fan of when players do that in the media. You know that if you listen to the show, especially if you didn't talk to the coach first. But if they feel like that's the only way they're going to get their message across, that's a problem. Niners, the 3-0 Niners had a bye, and the 0-3 Jets had a bye. And then the Saints beat the Cowboys. So the only two undefeated teams right now are the Pats and the Chiefs, and that's it. That'll be a fun matchup one day. But yeah, so NFL season's fully underway. Starting to see things play. A lot of 2-2 teams, which is great. That's great. The one thing about the NFL that I've always loved is that you never know who's going to win.
That's exactly what you want from the league. That's parity. That's parity. We talk about
Unless
this a
you're
lot.
Miami.
Yes,
and, you're going
exactly.
to lose.
There's a couple of teams that are 0-4. There's a couple of teams that are 4-0. Everybody else 2-2, 3-1, in the wash somewhere. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see. You don't know what's going to happen except for the 0-4 teams are basically done. Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too. Real quick, just to end this segment, we did talk about how what ends up happening when you're kind of out at this point. And Ray, you said it best yesterday. Actually, you said you can lose the Super Bowl in the first 4 games, right? Is that what you said? Like you can lose the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
You can lose. Your season can be lost in the first 4 games.
Yeah.
It can't be won in the Super Bowl. You can't win a championship in the first.
It's a great saying.
Yeah.
We should put you like a little motivational poster with that. But no, what's going to happen, and this is what I love about the NFL, I really do, is that one of those teams, one of those 0-4 teams, one of those 1-3 teams is probably going to help or hurt a team from getting into the playoffs. Yep. And we talked about this. Ray and I, we spoke yesterday about it in the NFC East. The Giants or the Skins are probably going to screw the Eagles or the Cowboys over at some point in terms of the division lead, right? But it's how, again, this is why I love football. This is why I love football as a fan. You just don't know, right? I can tell you right now in the NBA who's going to be there. Not even going to talk about it. It's going to be Celtics, Sixers versus Golden State, and I don't know.
Right.
Well, somebody else, right? Whoever's going to lose this year.
Yeah,
so,
maybe Houston or something.
Maybe Houston, right? Not the Lakers. Anyway, I felt like I needed to say that. Let's shift here to our very anticipated mashup this week. We have 5 minutes. Ray, do you want to introduce it or do you want me to introduce it?
You can introduce it this week.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to remember. Okay. So, Spider-Man. Ooh, I had to go back to geek mode there for a minute. That was like a Jekyll head. Okay, so as you know, we said at the top of the episode, Tom Holland is coming back to the MCU as Spider-Man. He is not going to be with Sony. He's coming back to the original team. Well, not the original. He's coming back to the Super Bowl winning team of the MCU Spider-Man universe. So it made me think, Ray, what athlete, any sport, needs to go back to their original team? They belong there. They should finish their career there. There's a lot of historical people I could say that this needs to be done. Mark Messier is someone who actually did it.
Yes.
Right? But in sports today, who do you think needs to go back to the original team? You cannot say Eli Manning back to Ole Miss. That's cheating.
Well, okay? I was going to say, it's funny that you mentioned Mark Messier because my pick would be Ryan McDonough should go back to the Rangers.
That's a good one.
And should shore up our defense. So it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned that because I think McDonough, obviously a great defenseman, still has some good years left in him. Might not be a top pairing defenseman anymore, but he's definitely he's obviously in a starting lineup somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to have a lot of hockey people on it. But one for the Flyers is I would like to see Wayne Simmons come back to the Flyers. I mean, he's in the Devils now. That hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Ray, if you can hear in the background, my dog is crying.
I know because Simmons is on the Devils too. I mean,
that's why. That's why it's hard. And you know what? To Simmons' credit, he actually said, "I hope the Flyers fans boo me. That's how I know they love me." Right? Yeah. I'm gonna let my dog out real quick so this doesn't ruin the end of the episode. You keep talking. I'll be right back. 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah. So I mean, again, Ryan McDonough. I mean, he was our captain. We traded him away basically to New York Rangers South, aka the Tampa Bay Lightning. For him to come back, it'd be great for the Rangers for McDonough to come back. I was just saying, Lee, it'd be great for McDonough to come back to the Rangers.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Use him. Okay.
Yeah, your voice is so loud that I could hear you through my headphones across the room.
You're actually hearing me across the country. It's actually
through the country headphones. I love modern technology. What will they do next? You'll be able to come into our VR booth and like actually watch us do the show from 2 different places in the world. McDonough, Simmons. Again, hockey's really easy. There's a lot of athletes in the NHL that could do that. But I'm trying to think, like, when you think about baseball, I mean, it's tough. Like, because baseball moves so much, football too. So you guys don't move too much in football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd like to see LeSean McCoy come back to the Eagles, but he's older now. Like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there any football player that sticks out to you as like that? He doesn't belong there.
I mean, again, for me, I mean, it's easier for personal teams. Like, and I'm sure he's regretting it now. But Landon Collins, who went to Washington, I'd like him to come back to the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, we moved up purposely to draft him with the first pick in the second round of the year that he came out of Alabama. I mean, he's a great safety. I think that obviously with Peppers and Bethea there, but I think you could move him. You could even move him into a linebacker role or something. I think he would thrive, actually, especially in the 4-3, because he was such a great run stopper. So, I mean, he's only been gone for a few games, but obviously he wanted a lot of money. And that's what you do in football is if you want money, if you want to play for money, you go to Washington. If you want to play for a championship, you go anywhere else.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Washington Redskins in another episode. They kill me, but yeah I feel bad for their fans.
And in baseball, can I send somebody back to his original team? as a Yankee fan,
is this a rant? Are we gonna get the rant?
Well, I would love. Yeah, we'll get a mini rant. Okay, I would love to send Giancarlo Stanton back to the Marlins and send me back Starlin Castro and the pitchers and everybody else who we sent over there. We're gonna keep Domingo Germán, but like everybody else. Send Stanton back, please, because honestly, he was hurt the whole year, and last year they said he hit a lot of home runs, but all his home runs were when the Yankees were up 7-1, and he hit a solo home run. He was great if you had him on your fantasy baseball team. He was a stat patter. He's not clutch. He has proven himself. His defense, he is a subpar outfielder. Yeah. He has not adapted to the DH role. So yes, I'd like to send Giancarlo Stanton back to the Miami Marlins so he can just rot in Florida.
Right. I'm just gonna look you in the eye again.
Yes.
I don't feel bad for you at all. I don't feel bad for you. Are you bitching about your AL leading team right now? Yeah. Shut up, Ray.
He's bad for chemistry.
Shut
since he came
up,
back.
Ray.
Since he came back, we've been losing.
Oh my God. Yankee fans are just on another level. This is what it must be like to talk to Pats fans. Yeah, but did you win? we beat you in the Super Bowl. I don't. We did. Shut up.
Yeah, our teams beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the one thing we have, and you're never gonna get it. You also beat my team in the Super Bowl, but you cheat. I don't want to talk about this anyway. Yeah. Those are good picks. Yeah, I said we're not gonna do basketball because guys move so much. I mean, it's just like it's kind of stupid. Like, I mean, I don't even know if there's a basketball player I can think of that because every great basketball player has played for multiple teams except for Larry Bird.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, in the modern era, everybody bounces around. Yeah, it's. I mean, LeBron obviously is a perfect example. Cleveland, Miami, now the Lakers.
Yeah, what's the original team? Cleveland. He already did it.
Yeah, exactly. He already went back to Cleveland and then left.
And then
again.
won.
Yeah.
He left again. Horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, it's tough to say. Like, I mean, Harden and Westbrook obviously maybe go back to Oklahoma. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't think anybody wants that.
No, like Chris Paul back to the Clippers. I don't know.
Kawhi back to the Raptors. We just did that.
Yeah, we're back to the Spurs.
Spurs, yeah. It's basketball makes this one tough, but basketball is very much the DC universe here. There's different actors playing different people on different teams all the time. Crisis on Infinite Teams.
And the one constant is the Knicks suck.
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah, that's not going to change for a long time. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
And the Jets and the Mets are the same team.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly the same team. All right. Yeah. Well, that's an hour long. We did it. That was a fun episode.
We landed the plane.
We did. Yes. I was on a 3.5-hour flight last night. Where were you then? But that's okay.
Yeah. If it makes you feel better, I stayed up the whole night playing Gears of War 5. So
yeah, it doesn't make me feel better, Ray.
I'm sorry, Lee. I'm just saying I'm tired. I'm tired too.
I got stranded in Minnesota all night. No, it's okay. There's worse places to be. I could have got stranded in North Dakota. If you're from North Dakota, God bless you, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, oofta. Anyway, great episode. This was fun. Number 25 in the books.
Yeah.
If you like what you heard, feel free to listen to some more. But make sure you email us. Check out the website, geekswholikesport.com. Email us at geekswholikesport@gmail.com. You can check us out on literally anywhere podcasts are out right now. If we're not on something, let us know. We'll change it. Facebook, Geeks Who Like Sports. Twitter, Geeks Who Like Sport. No, it's Geeks Who Like SP1, right?
Yes, that's Twitter and Instagram is Geeks Who Like SP1.
Right. And then what else am I forgetting here? Oh, Facebook group, Geeks Who Like Sports. You guys have been awesome. The conversations are picking up. Also had some stuff we'll talk about next week. But yeah, it's a great time of year, man. We can't pack enough into these episodes. Also, make sure you check out Ray's additional content. He's done some great interviews over the past week with people within the gaming and geek industry. Phenomenal stuff. Also, his 4-minute offense, 5-minute offense, 4-minute offense, 4-minute offense, offense, what I said. With Ray doing some of the best game reviews you're ever going to hear. The guy did it professionally for years. If you really want to know if you should get something. Also, check out his NHL 20 review, which is all over WeLive.hockey. It is a 17-part series that he's done on everything. I think it's more like 8 or 9, but he's done a full review. If you're looking into playing that game, make sure you watch that before you buy it. Ray, I'll let you close it. I just want to get all the emails out of the way and everything for you so you can do what you do. This is Lee Elias, and I'm going to sit here and Ray.
Yes, so for Lee over in Philadelphia, I'm Ray in Los Angeles. Thank you all so much for listening to episode number 25 of Geeks Who Like Sports. Be sure to tune in next week. We've got a lot of great stuff planned, like Lee said. And until next time, bye-bye!